be with you at the 2021 Port Macquarie Big Day In event. I'm coming to you from the Kulin Nation in the heart of the Wurundjeri people, often referred to also as Melbourne. And I give my respects to the traditional owners past, present and emerging. Do you know, I've heard so much about Port Macquarie, so many great things. In my 8 years at working at Adobe, I've had the pleasure of visiting lots of towns and cities around New South Wales, but not yet Port Macquarie. Now, to make up for the fact that I haven't visited your beautiful Port Macquarie yet, at the end of this session, I'm going to give away either a 12-month subscription to the Adobe Creative Cloud, but if you're a New South Wales Department of Education student, you already have the Adobe Creative Cloud. So another offering for you will be 12 months worth of Adobe stock, which is images, audio files, 3D assets, and lots more for your future productions. Each of those prizes is worth just under $1,000 Australian dollars. So what you'll need to do is answer a question about something that I'm about to present. So make sure that you're listening carefully and taking notes. I spent 23 years as a teacher in Melbourne, and I've now been at Adobe as their senior education specialist for the last 8 years. So do the maths. That's how old I am. One of the many things that I like about working in the IT industry is the diverse range of ages and life experiences of the people that I work with. In my team, we have interns who are still at university and they're only in their early 20s. And we even have some, not many, who are older than me. And we come from all sorts of academic backgrounds like law degrees, business degrees, economic degrees, arts degrees, computer science degrees, some who never went to university at all, but are really good with people and really good with technology and love learning new skills and have earned lots of micro-credentialing courses along the way, doing courses through TAFE, through other universities, through private training providers. And then there's me. I'm an ex-primary teacher and secondary teacher and university lecturer and school administrator. So I want to find out a bit more about you guys now. So what I'd like you to do is I want you to jump into this QR code. If you can scan that QR code now with your phone or your tablet device, it'll take you to not a quiz, but it's more of a set of range statements. And I want you to give us a strongly disagree to a strongly agree. Bring in your range to what you kind of believe about the range statements that you're about to see as you scan this. If you're finding it hard to scan the QR code, and well, we should all be used to scanning QR codes these days, but if you are finding that hard, you can go to www.minty.com and then use the code 904870 and that'll get you into the same activity. So get into it now, and as we start seeing results coming in, as they're starting to come in now, I'm going to bring across the results to the share screen so we can see what your thoughts are. As you're opening it up, you'll notice the first range statement is, I know what I want to do for a job in the future. And the second one is, learning IT skills at school will help me with my future employment opportunities. And the third one is, I already earn money doing what I'm passionate about. Now, at the moment, only one person has started doing it. So we can't bring across the results just yet until we get a few more people in. So scan the QR code or do the minty.com and use the code 904870. Now we've got 3 people in. When we get about 5 or 6, I will start sharing the results. The other range statements here, I work well with a team. Strongly disagree, strongly agree. Another one, I think I'm creative. Strongly disagree, strongly agree. And we've got 5, we've got 7 now, that's good. So let's bring across the results. And if you're still looking for that code, it's up the top there, minty.com, and the code 904871. All right, let's have a look at the results. I know what I want to do for a job in the future. We've got a reasonable spread with most of you agreeing but 2 of you out of the 10 so far disagreeing with that. Learning IT skills at school will help me with my future employment. Most of you agree. 1 of you disagreeing with that, but most of you tend to be agreeing. I already earn money doing what I'm passionate about, and that's interesting. We've got 4 people who do that already, which is fantastic. We've got 9 people who don't, and then a couple in the middle there who kind of sort of do. I work well with a team. Oh, quite a spread, but most of you tend to agree that you work well with a team. I think I'm creative. Now that's interesting. We're getting more of an agreement side of it to disagree, but 2 of you disagree that you think you're creative, and most of you think you are. I have a passion for coding. Now look at that, a really interesting spread across the board with 6 of you disagreeing with that and 7 of you agreeing with that and 3 in the middle. Interesting spread. I have a passion for design, and that's interesting where most of you tend to be agreeing with that. And the last one, I'm encouraged to use Adobe applications at my school, and I'm very pleased to see that most of you are in the agree side of that too, which is excellent. All right, we might refer back to that a little bit later, but that gives me a sense of where you guys are all at. And thank you for doing that particular poll. Now, we're going to play a little game. While I've been working at Adobe, I've got to work with some pretty amazing people. And as a company, we interact with some incredibly amazing people. But behind this blue box is a celebrity. I want you to go to the chat. And Calvin, if you could open up the chat so that publish the results. It'll probably be in the Q&A of who they think is behind the screen as I start to reveal it. So I'm going to start revealing it now. And as soon as you think you know who it is, I want you to put your response into the Q&A. And Kelvin, if you can publish as soon as we get a response, doesn't matter what the response is, whether it's correct or not. I think Kelvin knows exactly who it is because I've done this before with him. And hopefully we're getting some responses soon as we're revealing. Usually people have guessed it well and truly by now. Come on, folks, into the Q&A. Give us your response. Calvin, have we got any responses yet? Because I'm not seeing them if we have. And this isn't going to work very well. Oh, thank you very much. We finally got one. It is. It's the amazing Billie Eilish. And she's someone we've been working with for a number of years, believe it or not, even though she's very young. At this stage, she's very young as well, but she's had quite a relationship with us at Adobe, and we're up to our 3rd partnership with Billie. I want to play this clip to give you a sense of what we've been doing with her recently.
For me, creativity starts with what ifs. Like, what if it takes place in a white void? Or maybe beige? No, black. What if there's fire? Did that already. What if there are some old cars? Or not? Let's see that in slow motion. Yeah, it's too much. What if it's in suburbia? That's not right. What about my look? Meh. That's cool. What if it happens in the rain? Yeah, this is it. Now, create what's true to you.
Billie is an example of someone who at a very young age worked out what she was good at, what her passions were, and developed some outstanding communication and creativity skills, and turned her passion into a job well before she finished her formal education. Adobe have been partnering with Billie for a few occasions, as I mentioned earlier, and most recently she's helped us with our latest Adobe Creative Cloud campaign, aiming at encouraging everyone to be digitally creative and to create what's true to you. Billie and her brother Phineas both discovered they had a passion for songwriting and recording. They've both been really successful at developing a range of skills and turning those skills into a job turning those passions that they have into a job. One of the great pleasures I have in my job is to visit schools and universities around Australia, around Southeast Asia, and even into the United States of America when I'm allowed to travel, and meet students who are really creative. They're doing their schoolwork as well as turning their passions into a job. They're photographers, they're video makers, they're coders, they're graphic designers. They're not waiting to finish school or university and getting a formal qualification. They're setting up their small businesses and their startup companies and doing school at the same time. They're turning their passion into a job. They're developing a range of skills and applying those skills while they're still at school. Skills that will help them thrive in the future, no matter what they do down the track, whether it's in the IT industry or whatever. Those skills are important. Now, the topic of this presentation is skills to thrive in the future. And I'm about to share with you a list of what has been widely recognized as the most important skills to thrive in the future workplace. The World Economic Forum has been researching these important skills for many years, and consistently what you're about to see were considered in 2016 the top 5 most important skills. Now, this was back when you were in primary school, but it's interesting to compare this to the most recent of the research. Let's have a look at them. The 5th most important skill, coordinating with others, collaboration, teamwork. 4th most important skill, people management, managing a team, again related to collaboration, leadership. 3rd most important skill, creativity. Now, this isn't Adobe talking here. Obviously, we value creativity. We are the world's leading digital creativity software company. But this is the World Economic Forum. There's a whole group of business leaders and political leaders that meet regularly, and they rate creativity as the 3rd most important skill to thrive in the future. 2nd most important skill, critical thinking. 3rd most important skill, problem solving. Now, look at those skills. How often are you encouraged to develop those skills? How often when you do assignments at school, are you developing those skills in the process of doing those assignments? I work with thousands of teachers. That's my main job, to work with teachers. I just sent out my newsletter yesterday. 30,000 teachers I work with my newsletter, and then I work with lots and lots of them during the week. And I encourage them every time they set an assignment, set it up to develop skills that are going to help your students in the future, such as these skills. These are often referred to as soft skills, but I like to refer to them as vital skills, because the word soft kind of undermines them in a little way. Now, you can think of them as soft skills if you like, but they are still really, really important skills to develop. More recently, the World Economic Forum linked with Microsoft's LinkedIn, which is, everyone should be on LinkedIn if you're looking for a job, basically. It's an essential part of job searching. And they did a study on what are the most in demand of the soft skills in that study. And let's have a look at them. The 5th most important, time management. 4th, adaptability. 3rd, collaboration. 2nd, persuasion. And look at the number 1 most important skill to thrive in this study, creativity. It hit the number 1, the top most important skill. At Adobe, we've been involved in a lot of studies, and most recently we did a study we did this actually last year, and it looked at 2 million job advertisements and 2 million resumes across 18 different career areas. And we found that skills like collaboration, communication, and creativity are highly sought after by 70% of hiring managers, but only a small fraction of applicants actually featured these skills in their resumes or in their interview conversations. When you do get a job interview situation, try to share your communication and your creativity skills. Note that this resume that you're seeing on this picture here has a picture on it. And there's a bit of debate at the moment as to whether you should be sharing that sort of personal information on a resume. I tend to think that not only should you have an image, you should also have a link to a video of you outlining who you are, what skills you have, and why you should get the job over anyone else. Let's face it, folks, when you're going for a job, it's a competition. You're up against a lot of other people. So the more creatively you can brand yourself, the more likely you're going to get to the top of the pile and get an interview and potentially get the job. Check out this video resume that came across our desk in the States a few years ago.
Hi, my name's Krista Timmerman, and this is my story. I'm a Jersey girl, born and raised by the shore. Growing up, I was a classically trained singer. When I was older, I loved the flashy New York life and the gritty rock scene of Asbury Park. After some street team activities for a local band, I began to see the big picture, and I knew I wanted to work in the entertainment industry. In 2010, after graduating from Howell High School, I moved to Orlando, Florida to begin my degree at Full Sail University. At school, I studied entertainment business with my own personal focuses on branding and new media. I'm self-motivated and always eager to learn. Outside of the classroom, I garnered a real-world education, playing intern for an advertising association.
That is just amazing. And I want you to go to the chat now, go to the Q&A. I want you to tell me what applications do you think Krista actually used to put that video resume together? What apps did she use? Adobe Illustrator was possibly used to actually build some of the icons for that, so well done. And Kelvin's going to publish it. Adobe Premiere Pro was used to stitch the whole thing together. Absolutely, really important app to be aware of if you're going to be involved in serious video production. But of course, you've got Adobe Spark Video too if you're not going to be involved in serious video production, but it's really important to learn how to create videos. What other applications were used? What was used to do the special effects? Adobe Spark wasn't used to use the special effects, but it could have been. It actually wasn't used in this particular case, but Spark has a really good video component to it. Photoshop was definitely used in this production to get a lot of the elements together for it. Any idea what was used for the special effects? Because it wasn't Photoshop and it wasn't Premiere Pro and it wasn't Spark. After Effects, well done. Oh, fantastic. I think we deserve a bit of a crowd for those people. All right, let's go. How can you stand out from the crowd? I mean, let's think about this in terms of sort of practically what can be done for you. Adobe Creative Cloud, which is what was mentioned by a number of you, all those apps were part of the Adobe Creative Cloud. It's now available, it has been for a while, in every New South Wales Department of Education school and every Victorian Department of Education and Training school. They've provided the Adobe Creative Cloud for all of their secondary school students, and in New South Wales, their primary school students as well. Every other school system, independent Catholic, most of them have got access to the Creative Cloud, probably for their media, IT and arts students, but some schools have said, yeah, we want all our students to have access to these tools. So if you don't have access, just check how you can get access for your school. But if you're a department government school student, you should have full access to the full Creative Cloud. And they're amazing tools. They're really important to help develop your digital literacy, your communication, your creativity, and allow you to brand yourself with these industry standard tools to be better prepared for the future workforce. Most importantly, they do a whole range of different things. So I like to call it, the Creative Cloud, a digital maker space for collaboration, for problem solving, for communication and for creativity. And you can see all the different things that you can create with the Adobe Creative Cloud. It's made up of 23 desktop laptop apps, 23 mobile apps, and 11 web apps and resources. I like to break the Creative Cloud down into two different categories. You've got the low lift, high impact apps, such as Adobe Spark, that you really need no formal training in. You can just use without really knowing much about them because they're so intuitive. And then you've got the powerful high impact apps, which are used at the highest level of all sorts of communications industries. If you do need any help with these apps to help brand yourself, can I recommend you look up the Adobe Help Center, helpx.adobe.com, helpx.adobe.com. And that's where you can get beginner guides to full-on master guides on all of the Creative Cloud applications. And if you just want to get started, if you really are brand new to the world of Adobe, the Spark apps are just brilliant. They're free. They're available for everybody. Whether your school has Adobe or not, you have access to Adobe Spark because it's free. And we can even get access for your under 13s through a school system. You don't have to have a Google, Facebook, Apple, or an Adobe ID where you need to be 13 to use Adobe Spark. But if you are over 13, you've got full access via spark.adobe.com. The Adobe Creative Educator program is something I want to address to teachers who are listening to this at the moment. I encourage every teacher to do at least level 1 of this program. It's all about creativity in education. We had 15 professors, associate professors and PhDs help us put these courses together that make up the Adobe Creative Educator program. Please share that with your colleagues, teachers and students. Let your teachers know about this. Really important. I reckon every teacher should do at least level 1. And we've got a brand new look Adobe Education Exchange for teachers now, which has over 1 million teachers involved, sharing ideas. We have lots of courses there. Everything's for free, and it's all about encouraging creativity in education. Folks, creativity, as you saw, is such an important skill to develop. And if you don't feel like you're a creative person, the Adobe tools are there to help you be creative. We can encourage creativity. We can help you create all sorts of things and help you brand yourself so that you can thrive in the future as well. These days, I love the fact that I'm working more with English teachers and humanities teachers than I am with IT and media and arts teachers. And it's just incredible to see how creativity is coming right through all different curriculum areas. So here is the chance for you to win a special prize. What I want you to do is go to that QR code there. It's a different one to the one you had before. And that'll open up a form where there is a question I want you to answer. The question is related to something that I presented. If you can get the right answer in, I'm going to randomly choose a winner from the right answers, and then you can decide which prize you want. If you're a DOE student from a Department of Education school, you've already got the Creative Cloud, so you probably don't want that again, but you wouldn't have access to Adobe stock, which is just awesome. So that might be your prize. If you're an independent Catholic school student and you don't have the Creative Cloud, well, this is your opportunity to get it. Nearly $1,000 worth of software there for you. So I will randomly choose it. Well, let's keep that slide up there while we look at the Q&A. So Lily, what questions do we have from people before I finish off this session?
All right, we do have a few questions for you here. First one is, did you go to higher education? What degree did you get?
Well, you may have noticed in the opening title that I'm actually Dr. Tim Kitchen. So yes, to become a doctor, you kind of have to do a bit of higher education. So I've actually done 4 degrees, and which is a lot more than what you really need to do. But I ended up studying while I was teaching, and I ended up studying over 20 years and did my master's in arts, and I did my doctorate was in education, in IT in education, which led me to this role that I'm doing now for Adobe.
Amazing. And so do companies hire people who specifically know how to use Adobe products? And so what would you say are the most demanded Adobe product skill in the workforce?
Well, it kind of depends on where you're at. So if you're a graphic designer and if you don't know Illustrator, you're not going to get a job. I mean, Illustrator is the fundamental app for graphic designers. If you're a CGI artist and you don't know Photoshop, well, seriously, what are you going to be creating with if it's not with Photoshop? Photoshop is the fundamental software that is used for so much of the CGI industry, and Photoshop is used in graphic design as well. In fact, it's used right across the board. If you're a journalist and you don't know Premiere Pro, well, you're kind of doing yourself a bit of a disadvantage. Or if you're a video editor and you don't know Premiere Pro, because most serious video producers now are using Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects to put their their videos together. Even Marvel Studios, like the highest level of Hollywood multimedia, are using Premiere Pro and After Effects for their blockbuster films and their Netflix series and so on. Look, that's just a taste. If you look back at the recording and have a look at the list of all the apps, you can see all the different things where they're used at all sorts of industry levels.
Okay, that's amazing. And I'm sure this is a question that everyone gets these days. How has your work changed ever since COVID-19, and how is working from home with Adobe?
Well, yeah, I'm stuck. I've been stuck in my home studio here for nearly 2 years. It's been a long time. I used to travel nearly every week. I literally was on a plane somewhere, whether it was up and down the east coast of Australia, whether it was across to Perth, or I'd be traveling overseas at least 5 or 6 times a year to America or to somewhere into Southeast Asia. But now everything's online. And I think that'll be the case for many years to come. I certainly won't be doing anywhere near the same amount of travel that I used to do. I loved it because I was a teacher, as I said, for 23 years. So I was in the same school I only worked in 3 different schools over those 23 years. So it was fantastic to have a different job where I was traveling everywhere, and it was really lovely for a while, but then you get sick of all the travel after a while. And it's nice to be able to have the flexibility of being able to do things like this without actually having to travel to get there.
It's good to see you're seeing the positive side of this situation. Also, it seems that some people are having some issues with the QR code. Do you have a website URL there that they can use instead?
No, because it's a Microsoft form and it's a really long URL.
Oh, I see.
So if you're not able to connect to Microsoft Forms, I apologise about that. But we've got 22 attendees. I tell you what, if you email me, and my email address is kitchen@adobe.com, very simple one, kitchen, that's my surname, @adobe.com. I will send you that link so that you can have a go, and then I'll decide the winner, say about lunchtime today. Okay. Oh, and it's been posted in the chat already for those who can't use the QR code there. And then so for the final question for today, what aspects of being a teacher do you miss, and do you still mentor people at Adobe? Oh, look, what I miss most about teaching is the relationships that you build with the students and also your fellow teachers as well, that community that you have together. And that's the thing that I think a lot of teachers and students are struggling at the moment as they're in lockdown for Victoria and New South Wales, is you're missing those relationships. I think one of the most important parts of being a good teacher is building good relationships with your students. And I just really valued that when I was a teacher, and it was a grieving process to go through, leaving school and doing this. But I get to work in schools all over the world now, and I get to work with teachers all over the world, and I get to share my passion for creativity to a much wider audience, and so I get a lot of joy out of that. Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Tim, for sharing your insights and your experience about IT careers. No worries, and good luck everyone. And folks, most importantly out of everything, keep being creative. We'll see you later.